Uh-huh. And we are live. Okay. Trying to pick out some music to play. Music, actually electronic. Let's go. Okay. The music is live. Welcome to DesignOver, where we are doing a business transformation of a corporate brand. Let's also just make sure quickly that the show is going out to all the different... By the way, welcome to my new studio. I just had it renovated. Looks pretty cool, right? You're probably guessing how this is happening. True story. This is just a virtual background. This is a virtual background. This is not a real studio. But yeah, okay, so we are live on LinkedIn and we are live on X. I should be also live on YouTube here. Yep, okay. That looks good. Fantastic. And also on Behance. So this show goes out live everywhere, and we are basically doing a business transformation of a corporate brand called DCM, Data Communications Management. This is not a paid gig. This is speculative work that I'm doing. All right. I think there we go. Okay. I keep the music there to the minimum. Amazing. Okay, let's dive right into it. So if you haven't seen the previous episodes or are not aware, just go into the show description. There's a whole bunch of links which will take you to previous episodes if that's what you wanted to do. If you wanted to chat with me, you can go to paulsing.live, which is right there. paulsyng.live, which will take you to the YouTube page, and that's where the live is also happening. And it's easier for me. It'll be easier for you to chat if you did want to comment on something or did want to bring something up. And all comments and feedback are welcome. And what are we doing in this transformation? We are doing, we're working on the brand and the digital experience. That's what's been discussed in the previous episodes. And one more thing, let's just make sure that. Okay, that is actually working. Yeah, fantastic. A second. Just gotta make sure that the feeds are going out everywhere. Okay, that looks good. Fantastic. So let's dive right into it. I am going to jump straight into this window. And let me fix the audio thing that happened. There we go. Cool. So this is where we're at as of this very moment. If you're coming in live and hot, you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, this is the business that we are doing the transformation work on. Now, again, like I said, this is not a paid gig. This is speculative work. I just thought that this is something that I'm going to be doing anyways. So why not bring people along on this journey and share with you, so you can see behind the scenes what is the level of effort, how do designers even approach these problems, how do they think about or how should they be thinking about these problems. If you have designers on your team and and they're not up to the mark and your expectations, then this is probably going to be a good litmus test for you, or a benchmark for you. Okay, so this is the business in question, and after doing some research on them, I realized that it's not only it'll be worth not only exploring their digital experience, their website, but also potentially even exploring a little bit of their brand. Again, this is just a point of view. The company executives could look at this and totally disagree with everything that I'm doing and saying. And by the way, I have not interviewed them, so I don't know exactly what they're thinking. But based on all the signals that they're putting out, based on annual reports, based on all the internal decks and what do you call this? Their annual meetings and all that shareholder meetings. So all the evidence that I've collected is giving me a certain perspective of how they could be thinking. So I'm doing a bit of a deductive approach here and making assumptions and a hypothesis based on the signals that they're sending out. So that's kind of the background very quickly. And one more thing. So the other thing that we have done is the brand work. Again, I think we'll leave that out for today's episode. I think today I'm just going to focus on finishing up or getting the wireframe to a good place. And the goal there is that once the wireframe, the content, copy, some of that stuff is in a good spot, then we can get into some of the visual design parts of the website page, the homepage. I have already laid out a couple of sections, and I did tile them up just so that it's easier to sort of move stuff around. That's just kind of how I like to do it. Just keep everything very fluid and flexible. We have a totally new navigation based on some of the research that we did. Again, if you're curious about any of these things, you can go watch some of the previous episodes. But if you do have a specific question, you can always ask me in the comments. I'm not sure if LinkedIn comments come through to this show. That's why I would recommend that you go over to paulsing.live and send me your comments and feedback there if you have any specific questions. And let's dive right into it. So let's start finessing and start polishing up some of the copy. Okay. And what I'm also going to do is actually, let me zoom into this. So I'm going to start with above the fold. Let's see here. Okay. Another thing that is, sort of to keep in mind when writing all this copy, and again, I'm trying to verbalize and vocalize what I'm thinking intuitively, a little bit analytically, is the copy is really going to be that bridge between what you're trying to sell and what people are trying to buy. What you're selling is not necessarily what they're buying, and that's part one. Part two is the copy, apart from the visual language that we're going to be implementing at some point, is going to determine the tonality and personality. So are we serious, boring? Are we cheeky, fun? Are we business casual? So what's that tone? Again, I'm just going to take a stab at it and present my point of view on this. Let's see how it goes. And I do have all the previous copy, so we can constantly check back, see what kind of transformation work is happening here. So that is the home page. Okay. So first of all, make your marketing and communication workflows work better. If we make it simple, yeah, that's doesn't say much. In fact, what I want to say is, and this is going to be the body copy here. So from print to all your digital assets, be on brand and compliant. So that's one. Here. On the ball. Actually, I want this to be the way it is. Small. Wow. Again, I'm just playing around in Fig Jam, keeping it rough. From print to all your digital assets, be on brand and compliant across all touch points. Okay, I'll probably what I'd like to do is make a version, and then I'll go back and probably create multiple versions of what the potential hero section should communicate. So for example, I know that based on some of the stuff that I've read, I could have a few versions. So let me make some space here to just think about what are those different sections gonna, sorry, what the above the fold potential could look like. So let's say here are some versions that I'm creating. So actually, hold on a second. I did have yeah, I had basically pulled out some content from across the site which talks about impact and outcomes. That's probably the best way to tell the story, because again, like I said, you know, what you're selling versus what people are buying, we want to bridge that gap. So another way to sort of look at the copy could be on brand and compliant. On brand and compliant. Okay. Then the line below could be I want to pull from some of these examples here. So deliver enhanced customer experience. Again, so now, you know, the person that we're selling to, we're basically thinking about their customers and why they're buying. So let's say, you know, I'm a CMO of a certain company and I'm buying into the solution. Why would I be buying into the solution? Is because I want to deliver a great experience to my customers. So that's sort of the inception where you're kind of stepping into their shoes, the buyer's shoes, and thinking, okay, what is my problem set? What is the problem that I'm trying to solve? What is my challenge? And why would I be even looking at a solution provider like this, right? So I want to speak to the problem versus the solution. So, okay. I would have preferred to have some testimonials. There aren't many or any pretty much on DCM's website. They could have privacy or, you know, other sort of challenges around why they haven't shared those testimonials publicly, or I don't know what the reasons are. But I'm going to try and extrapolate based on the intel available to see how we could bring it closer to human speak versus business speak. Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, so now here's sort of the hierarchy here. So now one of these is sort of speaking and the hierarchy of the information here. So if I focus on this line, and this is just to kind of share again a little bit of the thinking of how this would work. Let me just lower the music here a little bit. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Epidemic Sound. Not sponsored. Okay. So this one speaks to more solution a little bit. But if I wanted to sort of reverse the orientation of this, it'll sound even better. So let me just grab this, duplicate it. So how I would want to do it, what I would want to do is reverse the sequence of this. So I'll be like, deliver enhanced, or I could even, okay, hold on. Customer experience. Or I could say, not even enhance, I could say delightful. And then underneath that, I could get into like, okay, let me tell you all about all of the details, right? So excite, give me the details, and okay, I want to learn more. So again, just showing you that the hierarchy how it would change the tonality from top to bottom for the site, right? So yeah, so what we could say here is So you can say drive enterprise wide enterprise brand while meeting I could actually even use more. So let's say, there's a whole bunch of different things that they're talking about. So tighten access security, consolidated vendor management. So drive enterprise-wide rebrand while meeting regulatory compliance across all marketing touchpoints and consolidated vendor management. Okay. And then learn more. So now this is like multiple ways of getting a little bit more specific as to what they offer. Now, if I go to the existing website, actually, that's not the one that I'm looking for. Hold on. So yeah, here it says, make your marketing and communication workflows work better. We make it simple. Contact us to learn more, right? Instead of that, I'm thinking be on brand and compliant. Get a little bit, so the copy is being a little bit more specific and not generic. Because, for example, if I go back here, this line that's above the fold, this is so generic that even HubSpot could put this on their site, and it's like, okay, because that's what they do, right? So, but the value add, or what the value prop of DCM is different, right? So they are basically historically they have been doing print, and they're moving in the direction of being a DAM, digital asset management, and SaaS, right? So we still want to communicate that and be a little bit more clear and concise. That's kind of the thinking. So now here are 3 ways we could communicate that. One is, on the ball, right? So no balls are dropped, because, you're making sure that all the different touch points are always on brand and compliant. So that's one way. That gives you one tone. The other way to approach that is saying, and they're like, no, we want to be like a little bit more direct. And then you can be like, yeah, sure, okay. So be on brand and compliant, and then deliver enhanced customer experience, meeting regulatory compliance across all marketing touchpoints, learn more. Or you could go idly, the way that I prefer to do it is the third way, is deliver delightful customer experience. And then how? What does that mean? And then the descriptive line is drive enterprise-wide rebrand while meeting regulatory compliance across all marketing touchpoints and consolidated vendor management. Like, there's going to be, based on all these different case studies, they have like different impacts that were made. So I'm just taking cues from some of the information that is available on their current site. So that's the thinking. Yeah, okay. So again, I'm just going to knock out ideas for each section just in the same way, just to have variety and not be married to any one idea. I want to have options. I want to be able to think about the problem, the solution, the buyers from different angles, and come at it from what different people will care about. Okay. By the way, another sort of fun idea I had was like, what if every time somebody refreshes the home page, and this is totally doable, is the copy above the fold totally changes and reflects something new. It it represents like a totally different use case. So depending on all the different industries that they service. So for example, here it is. So the different industries that they have is financial services, retail, emerging markets, healthcare and wellness, not-for-profit, energy, blah, 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 right? So above the fold, the copy could reflect those different customers, buyers. or it could speak to a specific outcome from a specific kind of a solution, right? So that's why I'd like to have all these different options when I'm doing this, so that when I actually get into the design stage, I have these at hand and I can use whatever I need. Okay, so that covers that. Let me keep going here. So I'm gonna just put these and okay. Another thing that we did discuss in the previous live, but again, I'll just quickly bring it up to make sure that we're all on the same page here of how we're sort of thinking about this. Okay, that is weird for some reason. Okay, yeah. So if I go back to the home page now. Wait, whoops. I always open the wrong browser. Okay, let's go back. This one. So now, one of the things based on some of the initial research that we did is recognize that this company has, of course, you know, printing was pretty much at the core of what they did, but with all the recent acquisitions and the new strategy, business strategy perspective, the customers that they're going after, you know, how can we show up to those buyers is, you know, when they're trying to find a solution, they're going to look at a whole bunch of different companies and businesses that offer something similar to what they're doing, whether that's printing or that's digital asset management. And how can you show up in that buyer's journey and leave them better than you found them? So let's say, you know, they're making calls, they're asking, you know, their colleagues, or they're trying to find answers to problems that they have. So showing up, if we think about the way like McKinsey, BCG, Deloitte, PwC, like some of these consulting firms show up, is they are more educational, informative, and not trying to sell, so to speak. Not going to get into the definition of selling here, but so if I go back now here, what's the thinking is on the home page, right above the fold, why don't we have this section of download the damn report? That'll be a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but and this can help buyers make informed decision on, okay, what are all the different vendors out there? What do they offer? You know, where is this trend going? What should your cost be? How should you even select a vendor? Like, this report could be a very comprehensive, educational, informative tool that could be used to help stand out. Now, of course, I have, as we've looked at on previous live shows, that competition is already doing some of these things. So there is an opportunity here, and at the same time, a challenge. So that's kind of what's happening above the fold. So when somebody comes to somebody visits your website, firstly, how we show up, how we communicate, and then two, what is the value that we are bringing to them? That's kind of the thinking here, especially to all those executives and people who are going to make those buying decisions. Okay. Again, just talking through the thinking behind how all of these little details are going to matter at the end when we bring it all together, right? So, okay. Next thing over was, oh, by the way, and this can be, you know, this is a great way to do some lead generation. Find prospective buyers. Again, there's a whole bunch of tools. I'm not going to get into all that. You know, how do you like make a meaningful intervention with people who are snooping around on your website? Maybe for another day. Okay. So the first thing is being a little bit more clear on what business you're in, and meeting the buyer where they are. So that's going to be above the fold, and being helpful and informative and helping them make an educated guess on who to go with when they're looking for print or DAM. Next thing over, right about after that, is my thinking is, now typically, let's go back here for a second. Again, wrong browser pausing. Back. Chrome. It jumps straight to like companies we work with. Now this doesn't tell me much. It doesn't tell me what did you know, these logo walls. Yes, there's a time and place for something like this, but it doesn't tell me much. It doesn't communicate much. And what my thinking here is that, okay, you know, I'm sure some executives sitting at DC, I'm gonna be like, no, we need these logos. Okay, sure. If we do need these logos, then how can we make them relevant? Is so tie the logos to like real outcomes that have happened. So, you know, like thousands of hours saved, you know, this many dollars amount saved. Now they have a really fantastic tool. I think they are on the right path. Again, wrong browser pausing. I think there was a tool here somewhere. I remember. Where did it go? I think it was on the assemble page. Let me just double check here. Close this. There was a calculator. Oh, here it is. I think this is genius to have something like this. The fact that they've done something like this where you can have like make a quick educated guess on, you know, what's the impact and outcome going to be. So now what I would want to do is bring this flavor into the front, because, you know, if I look at the existing site, actually, hold on, let me open up a second page here, open link in a new tab. Okay. Now here, when I see this, I really don't know what I'm buying, even till I get here. So I've looked at above the fold, and I've come all the way down here. I've scrolled to the second section. I still don't know what you're selling. It's not very clear. And what's the impact and outcomes? So that's basically what I would want to inject into the homepage, like wow me, right? So here is where I would want to bring in this flavor of this tool. I think it's a genius idea to have that tool that they did. I'm gonna keep opening that tab. Okay. So this tool is really great because you can quickly gauge, you know, based on the number of employees, and I don't know how many, you know, based on all the people watching. So DAM essentially means is, you know, if you look at like larger companies, they have so many different files and assets floating around that a lot of time is wasted finding those assets because they're on SharePoint or somewhere in the cloud or on somebody's computer. So how do you enable your workforce to have all the right information at the right time so it can surface, and that makes you more agile, on your feet? And the other pain point, of course, that this tool speaks to is that because sometimes you can't find those assets, you end up recreating them. So imagine the amount of time wasted in searching for them, recreating them, or what do you call it? Searching, creation, and there's one more thing actually. Oh, and distribution, of course. So there's all that aspect to it. Now, I would love to have. So I'm just gonna make a hypothetical here because I don't have real outcome numbers. So I'm just gonna use this fantastic tool that DCM's created. I think this is fantastic to build out this section here. So now, for the audience, for the viewer looking at the site, they can connect the dots between those logos and what are the outcomes. That's basically what we're going to tackle right now. So I'm going to just make a quick educated guess on, let's say 40 employees, number of hours searches per month. I'm just going to make a guesstimate. So let's say they're doing 40 hours of search per employee. Looking for information. Hourly costs, let's say go with 40. Actually, let's go with a little bit more conservative number just in case. So let's say they're wasting what, 20 hours, and number of employees is, let's say, 80. Yeah. So this could be like also, depending on the size and scale of company, this could also just be like a unit within a company. But okay, let's keep going. So let's say, you know, you have a team of 20 people, actually 15, let's say, who are constantly spending time, you know, recreating assets because, you know, you can't just find them in the right time, right? So let's say there's a proposal happening live and you're like, oh, we need those graphics. Oh, we can't find them. So you end up recreating some of them, right? Okay, so number of hours spent by each employee recreating each asset per month. Okay, let's go again with a little bit of a conserve. So let's say 20 hours. And hourly cost, again, I'm going to go with, let's say, 40, just to be a little bit, again, conservative. And then the distribution piece, number of employees editing and distributing assets per month. So let's call that 30. Hours spent by each employee editing it. And by the way, so another way to look at the slider is that would a leader who is looking for a solution like this, would they actually have a gauge on what is actually happening in terms of hours and time wasted? How would they even document that, right? So that is another big question. So even though that this tool is great, you're still gonna have to, even that person is gonna have to make a bit of an educated guess. Okay. Unless you tie this back to Salesforce and you can look at timesheets, which we know how people fill out, but bear with me for a second. If there's a way to track that and then sync it up with this, I think that would be really cool. But anyways, I'm just... Say numbers of hours spent by each employee editing and just... Okay, so let's go with 40 maybe. I'll go with like 10 just to keep it a little bit tighter. How... okay, 50. Okay. So now, your cost without assemble. Estimated time spent managing digital assets per year, right? So I'm gonna use this now here. So the answer was 26,400 hours. So let's see, 26,400 hours. RS wasted finding, creating, and distributing So I'm going in a little bit of a reverse here, and we can share data points from the lens of like what you can avoid. Like what's the, another way to sort of think about this set of information is the cost of inaction. So if you don't do this, what might happen, right? So I'm kind of thinking about it, the information from that lens as well. So I'm going to just tweak that copy. So you could speak from outcomes, or we could speak from cost of inaction. So, and then, okay, estimated cost of managing digital assets. Okay. And then let's go there. And I'm going to put that here. Estimated cost of managing. Wait, let me just make sure that the line was. Yeah, okay. Could be, damn. Did you know? For now, I think I'm gonna try that out. Did you know? Okay, let's. And let's go with extra large. Damn, did you know? Yeah, okay, so companies. I could say companies. Data points that I had. So let's say 80 employees. Yeah. Okay. Companies with 80 employees end up companies without 80 employees. What is it? Without end up burning burning time and money. And what I would want to do is let's add this here. I want to actually have a section is actually, hold on, I could actually build this separately here. Try the calculator for yourself. Okay. So the thinking here is that we're giving somebody who's looking at the page, we're giving them a starting point for the information, but then we're also going to prompt them, hey, why don't you try this calculator for yourself, right? So that's kind of the thinking here. So try the calculator for yourself. And so it's like intrigued, question mark, not intrigued. Try the calculator for yourself. And boom. See how much save. Okay. And then I need the copy here. Try calculator. I wonder what they call it. I wonder if they have a name for it. It's called asset management ROI calculator. Okay, yes, that's the name. Try ROI calculator. I love these little fun tools that they're so engaging. Okay, try the ROI calculator. And that looks good. Your unit can save. Actually work. Okay, so that's something I would want to have. I'll probably want to have this in a slightly different color, maybe keep that in mind for myself for later. And then maybe here, wait, let's see what other information was there. Let's read this for a quick second. Let's see if there's any interesting outcome that I could leverage here. What did they have? Successful solutions at work. Let's see. Okay. This is... Yeah, okay. So... Okay, have here. That's the word. Okay, yeah. So search, create, distribute. Okay, so I had an idea there. This was actually going to be, this section was going to be actually more focused on the outcomes part of it. And like page is frozen on the live. Oh, there we go. Okay. That fixed that screen problem. Let's keep going. So there's a couple of things here now. I'm gonna actually duplicate this section here because there's sort of two approaches to this. One is gonna be speaking to outcomes, and then one is speaking to cost of inaction. Maybe I do a blended version, or I could just have it separated out. Just wanna be careful here. Damn. So I'll be like, for example, 1 million hours saved. So one is gonna go, so that's basically the difference here. Yeah. Okay. That would be fantastic. Now I don't have very specific numbers, which sucks. But let's see if we can find some numbers that we could leverage. Success stories. Okay. We can find some interesting metrics that could be used in the outcome section of the site. So let's start with this one. COVID testing. So again, even in this, they're talking about, you know, creation, distribution, and then measurement, but there's no back. What the next one tells us. Open link. Since I don't have the numbers, what I could do is I'm going to reverse engineer some of the potential outcomes based on some of the impact that they've given us. So let's take a stab at that for a second. So I'm going to say reverse engineer that. So I'm going to be like, yeah. And alone. Okay, so that. Okay. Finding creating assets is no longer a pain. Saved of people time. And then this could be John Doe, industry leader, and company. Yeah, okay, so that's the kind of quotes I would want to see here on this page that would connect the dots with the logos and outcomes. This one could be as simple as is how much we saved when saved last quarter. And then again, could be Brady, CMO, and company name. Okay. So yeah, so now those are sort of two different approaches to the same section. One is coming from clients and testimonials and outcomes. The other one is speaking to cost of inaction and what you potentially risk of losing if you don't invest in something like this. So again, it could be done sort of both ways. Again, I wanted to have the optionality. So that's that. Let's go to the next section. Oh yeah, this is, I think I've covered this piece, so I think I should be okay if I, depending on which path we go with, this outcome-based insights could be removed or added. Again, that's why these tiles are really helpful when doing a wireframe. Okay, so it's already saved. Let's keep going. Uh-huh. Ooh, and this is where I want to like have like a montage of at least 2 or 3 different successful case studies, and this could be done in a couple of ways. One is look at the DCM's portfolio of clients and look at which is the most profitable category. Celebrate those at the top, put those center stage if there's like a really great interesting case study based on which industry brings them the most amount of revenue, or it could be done in the inverse of which are the categories that they're trying to go after and putting those center stage. Again, it all depends on I don't think the cops agree with my point of view here. Okay, so yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is let's go with financial services first. Again, I'm just making an educated guess that we're just going to go with like financial services, energy, and not-for-profit. Again, just to show like a range. So that's the other way to kind of approach it, because I don't have a lot of the information, because I haven't spoken to the executives at DCM, so I don't know. But because I don't know, I'm going to make an educated guess. So here we go. Let's go to this one, financial services. Let's see what kind of outcomes do they have here on financial services. So I go to industries, if I go to financial, and then I scroll down to helping financial institutions meet changing. Okay, let's just read the whole thing. Okay, so there's some good stuff here that I can totally leverage. Okay, let's read the case study. Yeah. So, let's see here. Already at the 1 hour mark. Probably gonna continue for another 5 minutes. And that is on. Okay. Oops. Okay. All right, folks. I think what I'm gonna do is I've already hit the 1 hour mark for today. We're gonna pick up things again tomorrow and continue working on this. And I don't do anything behind the scenes. This is everything is behind the scenes. This is it. So we'll pick up tomorrow, continue building out the wireframe. In fact, what I'll do is I might just start doing some visual design in parallel to the wireframe because largely the structure I'm pretty happy with. It would remain kind of like this. The ability to speak any language, right? Tongue-in-cheek. Okay, so this I think I'm gonna avoid doing, and then connect the damn dots. Yep, that looks good. And damn snowballs dropped. Okay, I think that might be good. Yeah, so let's pick things up tomorrow where we're leaving off today. We'll go behind the scenes again, just like today. Wrap up the wireframe, get it to a decent spot, start doing the visual design. We already have an identity system in place, which looks pretty good and promising. So maybe I'm guessing another 2 to 3 episodes and we should have some mock-ups ready to share with the executives of DCM. It'll be a surprise to them. Again, they could throw it in the trash, delete, or they could be like, hey, this looks kind of cool. Let's have a conversation. We'll find out. Anyways, calling it a day. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.